Hey, beautiful souls. Are you ready to elevate your health and wellness journey? Join my Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness private community on Facebook. Imagine having a supportive tribe where you can connect, share, and grow together. Receive exclusive access to holistic health tips, empowering workshops, all designed to help you thrive. Head over to jenniferpilates.com to join our Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness community today. Don't miss out on this transformational experience. Empower your mind, body, and spirit today. Let's embark on this journey together. Head over to jenniferpilates.com to join our Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness community today. I'll see you there. Welcome to Empowered Within, a soul-quenching, transformational podcast that will set your soul on fire through candid and inspiring conversations. Leading experts, celebrities, healers, and I share our journeys of how we've overcome challenges to living an empowered life from within. I'm your host, Jennifer Pilates. Welcome to another episode of Empowered Within. Welcome to another show. I am so excited to have with us today's guest, Dan Chapman. Dan is a leading voice for natural remedies and a go-to media expert on herbs, supplements, and healthy eating. His expertise and genuine passion to create lasting solution comes together from a strong desire to move from health struggles to healthy living. Dan is the founder of Red Remedies and a second-generation owner of Sunrise Health Foods. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Hey, thanks so much, Jennifer, for having me. It's great to be with you.
Thank you. I am so excited and everything that we have going on in the world. I love that you're here and that we're going to talk about health and wellness and especially herbs. So tell me, where did your passion for herbs and healthy living begin?
Oh, that all probably begin with my mom, who, as a young lady in her 20s, really struggled with some health challenges as she was just growing up. And obviously, that's before I came around. But my mom really struggled with feelings of anxiousness, which led into fatigue. And you live life like that long enough, somewhere along the way, you start to feel feelings of depression. And none of that made sense to her. She didn't think she had anything to be anxious or depressed about, but yet that's the feelings that she had. And it took quite a bit of work for her and a number of years before she really realized that just some minor diet adjustments and the integration of some herbs and nutrition really transformed how she felt. So I grew up with a mom who was really passionate about food and health and nutrition and herbs. And I've caught that because I've grown up in my family's health food stores. I've helped tens of thousands of people deal with their health challenges. And so I just love having the ability to share a little bit of insights with people and just help them understand that you absolutely can get better. You don't have to live like this. And oftentimes, even some, again, minor adjustments, integration of some nutrition, some herbs can make a really profound impact in the way that you feel.
I love that. So over the years, what has been, do you just have one go-to herb that you will never be without?
Oh, I love it. So it's hard to choose one. I've got a lot of favorites, if you will. The way that I look at herbs and really any nutritional supplement is I love a formula designed to solve a specific problem. And that's really what we do at Red Remedies is I don't sell single herbs. I sell an herbal formula that I designed specifically to do something. And the reason I do that is just like when we eat a meal, whether it's one meal or food throughout the day, you don't eat one thing. You eat a variety of foods. And herbs really should be done the same way. Nutrients should be used the same way. We don't want to just take magnesium. If we think we have muscle
Right.
issues and we think magnesium is the solution, it's part of the solution, but it is not the solution for healthy muscles. We need a balance of minerals for that. And we have a formula called Muscles that we've designed to help the muscles contract and relax and to function the way that they're designed to do that. And so that's really what we do. So if you ask me what my favorite product was, I could answer that. I would say True Energy. And it has some herbs that are part of that foundation, which are Asian ginseng and rhodiola and cordyceps that are really quite popular, some amla. And I love that combination for healthy, positive energy levels. and the way that it makes me feel without having to worry about taking caffeine or other stimulants. So that's how I look at herbs and nutrition is we need that balance.
And so for someone who's thinking like, gosh, this sounds so interesting. I know I just feel off. I don't really know what's going on with me.
Mhm.
Where would you start with them?
Yeah, so I start everybody with a conversation around stress. And I know it's an easier conversation today because in the last few years, all of us have stress at a level that I think we would all agree is really not appropriate. It's just too much. You might just call it the background noise, the background chatter, but it's like there are things that just don't seem to let up for us. But stress is more than that. Stress is also the environment we live in, where the air we breathe, the water we drink, the foods we eat, the cleaning supplies that we use in our home or on our clothes or body care products. All of those things are stressors. And the thing to understand about the body is that anytime we come in contact with a stressor, it pushes our body out of balance. And our bodies function really well when we are in homeostasis or in balance. And our bodies, full admission, are great, really good at handling stress. But my point in that is that stress comes at a cost. It's not free. So any little stressor we come in contact with that pushes our body out of a place of balance then requires our body to spend energy to bring that thing back into balance. And so if we can start with a foundation of protecting ourselves from the negative impact of stressors, it will reduce the amplification of whatever issue it is that you might deal with. And so, to give some examples, I'll talk to people that might have a digestive issue of some sort, or maybe it's blood pressure or blood sugar, or it could be pain or a thyroid issue or hormone issues. No matter what your health concern might be, stress will amplify that problem. So, under stress, that problem will absolutely be worse than if you weren't stressed. And so, if the first thing that we can do is give you a formula designed to protect from that stress response, what we do is we reduce the amplification. So, in many ways, the problem you are having just simply goes away because without the stressor, your body's fully capable of balancing hormones. It just couldn't do it under stress. Or what we do when we reduce that amplification is then the real health issue then shows up where you say, oh, in fact, you do need some support for your thyroid, and we can support the thyroid by doing these things. But step number one, as I find, is really working on stress first, because every health issue starts to get better when we reduce that amplification.
Right. And I really appreciate how you talked about cleaning supplies, or maybe it's even lotions or something, a product that you're using. It sounds very in depth when you're working with someone to look at all of that, not just stress
Mhm.
of the world and all the
Right,
stress that
right.
we're going through, because that's enough in and of itself. We don't think necessarily about all the other things. So I have this question for you,
Yeah.
since you are the expert. When it comes above and beyond what you're putting internally, when you think about the external stresses, what is an example maybe in your household that you would use for cleaning versus so many are out there? I just had this conversation with someone else and I'm like, it's filled with carcinogenics. And they were like, but I love the smell. And I'm like, you're killing yourself.
And it's really not much of an exaggeration. Probably one of the most damaging things in and around us are fragrances. Fragrances do absolutely impact your hormones. And so whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter, right? So if you're a lady and you struggle to have a balanced cycle, or maybe, PMS really hurts and it's cramping for you, or whether you're a guy who says, "Wow, I'm not that old. My body should be performing the way that expect it to perform, but it's not." Different fragrances and so forth will mimic a hormone, and that causes your body to make adjustments and changes that are not normal and natural, and it can make it really challenging, if not impossible, for your body to have balanced hormones and then feel good. So, one of the things I would say for sure is maybe the easiest thing is go to your local health food store and start buying your cleaning supplies, your laundry supplies, your dish detergent, and things there, because the fragrances in there in a health food store and those brands are going to be essential oils rather than chemical fragrance. So that's probably an easier route to go. is just simply find the brands that are sold in the health food store. They will be better quality and they will not have the same chemicals that you're going to find in your regular grocery stores or big box store that you might be buying those things from.
Right, because one could be doing all of the things, could be working with you on the herbs and still sitting there going, but I feel like I'm stuck, not thinking about their environment and even the
Yes.
food perhaps that they're digesting.
Yeah, and that's part of the challenge, right? I get it, is we live in a toxic world. There are things everywhere between the food and the environment and our homes or whatever else. There are thousands of things that we maybe need to think about, and that can be very overwhelming. And that's why the place that I do start everybody is to use a formula, use a supplement formula that is designed to protect your body from stress. And so we make three of them, and the reason I make three stress formulas is, as we all know, we're unique individuals. We can all go through the same stress experience and come out the other side feeling very different. And so, what I have found is that with working with thousands of people, is that we tend to fall in one of three buckets, if you will, where I call
Okay.
it three different stress types. And so, that first stress type is the individual who might have a very busy, very full, active life. This person is probably generally healthy, but they find that just stress really wears them out. So maybe they don't sleep well at night, they're fatigued during the day. So they're always going for that extra cup of coffee or that energy drink. So there's a lot of caffeine going on. That individual is basically high stress equals low energy or fatigue. And we have a formula called True Energy, which is my favorite product because I'm that stress type. I'm very busy, very full, active life. And so True Energy is my formula that modulates stress or protects me from stress. The result of that is high levels of energy physically and mentally throughout the day without the stimulants. The second stress type is the individual who, under stress, they feel things more emotionally. So this might be anxiety, anxiousness, worry, fear. I hold the weight of the world on my shoulders. So there's a lot of caregivers that kind of be in this category because they're always caring for somebody else. This individual might sometimes struggle just to make decisions because the brain is just racing and spinning and won't quiet down. So what I do for that individual where it's more emotions is we have a formula called at ease. And that formula is going to bring balance to the brain and then quiet the physical anxiousness that goes along with that. Again, balancing that stress response. And then quickly, the third stress type is that individual that under stress, their tendency is to feel like low, melancholy, depressive. They might feel like I've just had enough. I cannot even do it again today. I don't want to do it again today. I don't want to get out of bed. And they just really need that lift. And so we have a formula called Enjoy for them, which is going to lift the spirit, lift the mood, again, bring balance to the brain, healthy, happy brain, work on that stress response in the body as well. And so figure out which one of those three stress types you are predominantly and choose the formula that's appropriate. And you'll find that when you do that, amplification for all of the other stuff that you might also be struggling with starts to come down and you're feeling so much better again. And then we can step two from there once somebody has reduced that amplification is and seeing some improvement.
That sounds amazing. Can I ask when you look at those, because we looked at the three stress types, when we look at the three herbs, the
Yeah,
combinations that you put in those
yeah.
three, can we talk about those? Because I think that's so important because some people hear herbs and they just turn their head a little bit, but I think
Mhm.
understanding more the
Yep.
combination and the why behind it is where people get hung up on. There's people either pushing something on you and
Right.
not right. People need to be educated and understand and feel as if they're in control. Because if they're already stressed,
Yes.
like
Yes.
they're searching for some sort of control. So diving deeper into that, I think would be really wonderful.
Absolutely. So True Energy is the first formula I mentioned. It's the one for energy for that individual who wears their stress like fatigue. And that one starts with a foundation of two predominant herbs in there, which is Asian ginseng, also known as Panax ginseng. And that might be the longest, it might be the herb with the longest history in the world. It's been used for thousands and thousands of years. It is an incredible herb. to to help with chronic stress. And then what we bring alongside Asian ginseng is an herb that's more Russian or Siberian. It's an herb called rhodiola. And those two herbs are really experts at energy, strength, stamina, focus, clarity. And what's beautiful about rhodiola and Asian ginseng, again, are these are not stimulants. There is no caffeine in here. You are not going to have a like an anxious, jittery feeling from these herbs. They produce energy in your body by bringing balance to that stress response that I mentioned. So that stress response robs us from energy. If we can balance the stress response, our body doesn't need to waste its energy dealing with that. And you can simply feel good physically and mentally. And then that formula has other nourishing herbs that are going to nourish your adrenals, your thyroid, and your liver. And so these are a mushroom called cordyceps, another herb called licorice, an herb called amla. And these are nourishing tonic herbs that are going to, I'll say, feed specific areas of the body. And so we know that for somebody that's struggling with energy issues, we need to make sure that your adrenals are functioning at a high level. We know that the more caffeine you consume, the more stress that puts on your adrenals. So you consume the caffeine because you're tired, but the very thing you're consuming is hard on the adrenals, which are essential for healthy energy levels. And so that's where it becomes a bit of a downward spiral while you
Right.
need more and more caffeine as time goes on.
That
And so we
vicious
want to
cycle
make
that
sure.
people get caught in.
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. So that's really the foundation nutrients in true energy. And these are herbs that have been around for many years. We have a master herbalist that is on my team that curates these herbs for us and designs that formula. So we have some very qualified people on our team that are helping to put these formulas together to ensure that they're safe, to ensure that they're going to do exactly what we expect, and that it's the product that we know is on that label and will deliver properly.
Hey, beautiful souls. Are you ready to transform your life with the power of light? Introducing our revolutionary light therapy patches. These little wonders harness the natural healing energy of light to rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. Imagine waking up every day feeling refreshed, energized, and ready to conquer your goals. Our patches work to reduce inflammation, boost energy, and enhance overall well-being, all while you go about your day. Don't miss out on this game changer. Visit jenniferpilates.com to learn more and to grab your light therapy patches today. Your transformation awaits. Take the first step now. Feel the light, feel the change. That sounds amazing. And you kept saying rhodiola. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember I used to take rhodiola years ago. Loved it.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great herb. It's again, it's been used for many years. It has a long history in Russia, but the history here in the US is probably became popular about 15, 20 years ago when a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the Russian research was finally translated into English. So it has a long history, but a little bit shorter here in the US. And it has absolutely become one of my favorite herbs to use.
Oh, how fascinating. When we're looking at stress, anxiety, because you have those three combinations. And if someone is leaning more on the anxious side, which I feel
Mhm.
that's a lot of people right now.
It is probably the dominant place that people
Mm-hmm.
are. And so maybe if I talk about what's in that formula, the place that we will start there is some B vitamins. So very basic,
Mm-hmm.
but B vitamins are essential for the production of neurotransmitters. A neurotransmitter is a brain chemical, natural, of course. Serotonin is one of those brain chemicals, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. We need those in balance in the brain. And whenever they come out of balance, we can feel feelings of anxiousness or feelings of depression. B vitamins start the process for our body to produce those neurotransmitters in the amount that we need. And so a B vitamin is known as a catalyst. It starts the chain of reactions. One of the ways I'll explain a B vitamin to a customer is if we want to have a campfire, you need something that's going to start that fire, right? And that something is a match. And that match gives itself up for the production of a fire. It can only be used once, which is why we need more and more matches if we want more campfires. B vitamins are kind of function the same way in the body. We need a regular supply on a daily basis. And their job is to give a part of themselves up for something else. And that's part of what happens with neurotransmitter production. So we know that people that struggle with focus, concentration, and anxiousness are generally deficient in specific B vitamins. So we put that as the foundation of at ease so we can resupply the B vitamins that we need so the brain can come back into balance. We also add magnesium and choline to that formula. Magnesium is another resource like B vitamins that we need a regular supply of daily. We are generally deficient in B vitamin, or I'm sorry, magnesium. Most of us are. And that is also essential to relax the muscles. It's essential for the production of a couple of those neurotransmitters. And so we need to replace that supply of magnesium along with choline, which is a fat that's healthy for the brain. And we find that individuals that are anxious will use more magnesium and choline during the day than somebody who might be calm and relaxed. So we want to make sure that we don't run deficient on these essential nutrients for this individual that will need that support. And then we add a couple of amino acids. Amino acids are basically proteins. So one called 5-HTP and another one called L-theanine. And these amino acids are your direct precursors to serotonin, dopamine, again, those neurotransmitters. And when we have them in healthy supply, we feel calm, we feel relaxed, we feel like we have the ability to make decisions and go about our day. The whole foundation of at ease are all of these different nutrients that will help nourish your body in the direction that we need it to go. And then a foundation of two herbs that we use in at ease. The first is Schizandra. Schizandra is another herb that is expert at helping us deal with stress, but Schizandra specifically helps us with emotional stressors. So it's an appropriate herb to use for people that feel anxious and overactive brain, along with Bacopa, which is an Indian herb or an Ayurvedic herb that helps calm an anxious body, but also helps us with focus, concentration, and memory. And so there's a handful of ingredients, but it's all part of this package, essentially, that is going to help that individual whose stress is very emotional, anxious, worry, fear. Because again, if I gave you one herb, you might experience some benefit, but our bodies are so much more complex than that. So we want to give you a well-designed formula that's going to get the exact result that we know that we need to get. And so there's a lot behind what we do in order to put those formulas together, but the results are pretty incredible for people that use them.
It sounds pretty incredible. And with all of the products that you have, and then you think about everything that's out there in the world, what sets your products apart from everything else that's out there right now?
There's quite a few things, but I'll try to keep it really simple. One of the things that's really unique about us as a brand is the fact that we have a master herbalist that curates our herbs. So basically finds the supply of the specific herb that we're going to use in our formula, and she leads the team that puts the formulas together. And so you would think that an herbal supplement company, it would make sense to have somebody on staff that has an herbal education, right? But if you ask that question of 1,000 supplement companies, and we know there are thousands of them out there, you're going to find less than 1% have anybody on staff that has any education on herbs at all. And Stacy is the name of our master herbalist. She has an undergrad degree in biology and literally a master's degree in herbal medicine. And that is significant. It's really maybe no different than if you go to a really good restaurant where you have a chef that's been through school and he or she knows what spices to use and where those spices need to come from and exactly what blend to use. And that meal tastes incredible. The master herbalist has a similar education to make sure that we're putting the exact right amounts, that we're using the right part of that plant. Because just because it's Schizandra, for example, one of the herbs that I mentioned, we need to make sure that we're using the exact right part of that plant in order to get the effect that we need. And so there's a lot involved in the testing that we do to ensure that we're going to deliver that quality. So the main question I encourage people to ask before you buy from a company is, tell me who the person is that works at the company that leads quality control. that leaves formulation and what education do they have for herbs.
Yeah, that is super important. And probably people are just so grab happy of, I'll just take this and I'll feel better. But being able to have the combinations, as you've described, is so important and makes so much more sense. It's looking at the body and only treating the symptom and never getting to the root cause.
That is precisely right. There are lots and lots of supplement companies, lots and lots of, I'll say, natural ingredients, but our bodies are complex things. And so I know at the top of the show, I just really quickly mentioned magnesium, which is an incredible mineral. Like we need magnesium. Almost every single one of us have some deficiency in magnesium just because our food is less nutrient dense than it used to be. And our stress is higher than it used to be. So that means our requirement for magnesium is higher. Our bodies are not as simple as add magnesium and all of a sudden we're better. We're so much more complex than that. And so we really look at not just what is needed, but what, when you add that mineral or add that herb to the body, what else will happen that maybe needs to be addressed to ensure that we're not creating some other imbalance on the other side of that. So we're very involved in what we do, very research driven. We spend a lot of time on our formulas. We are not the other 99% of companies that are really just marketing companies that are, selling herbs and they may not really know exactly what it is that they're selling.
And I love how passionate that you are and how this has come through your family lineages. It's so special and it shows your passion and your authenticity within you and within your company.
Thank you.
You also mentioned, I was reading about, you talk about the rules of the body and why it's so important to follow them. And I started thinking, I'm like, rules to the body. I can think of a few things, but I thought, I want to see what Dan has to say
Yeah.
because maybe he's got a few rules that we haven't heard of yet.
Yeah, so that really comes from this foundation of I find that everybody tends to agree with the statement of I want to feel good, but I just don't quite feel exactly the way that I want to every day. We might be just off the mark a little bit, or in reality, we might be off the mark a lot. Maybe somebody that's listening, it really struggles with a pretty significant health issue. And so the reason that most of us feel that way is a combination of stressors that we've talked about already, toxins in our environment that cause havoc within the body. So the body just can't get past all of the toxins and get rid of them appropriately. And then a combination of the fact that our food is nutrient deficient. And I realize there can be all kinds of other stuff as well, but those three things are involved in every health issue that I see: stress, toxins, lack of nutrients. So then if that's true, then we also look at how do we understand the body? And we look at the body holistically. And I know you can hear that word all the time. We're holistic health and holistic nutrition. But do you really think that way? So the rules essentially about the body are this: the brain and the body are connected. They're not separate, they never are. So they are connected, and one impacts the other. Nothing in the body happens in isolation. We live in this world of specialization. I've talked to people that say, I'm in pain, I need an anti inflammatory. Okay, but there's a lot more going on in the body that would have caused the inflammation. So even herbally, I could give you something like turmeric and I could reduce your inflammation, but that won't necessarily fix your problem. It's just going to fix the complaint that you told me about.
The
So again,
symptom.
the brain and the body are connected. The body is whole. Everything impacts everything else. And you have to have this understanding that your body has the capacity to heal. And to me, that's an important role because I've met a lot of people that have been sick for a lot of years and they start to believe over time that, you know what, I don't think I'm ever going to get better. I think this is just the way my body is, or maybe it's just genetics or whatever it is that you've been told or you've come to believe because life has been hard. And that was my mom's story. And what I loved about my mom is that she didn't give up and she always had this belief that I can get better and I'm going to. And so I found that you have to have the belief that you can heal. And you may not see that in reality, but you have to start to believe it because the more that you believe that, you have the ability to see yourself in a different place than you are. So those rules are very important. And then we apply a solution, which is nourishment. not pushing or stimulating the body. Drugs are going to push and stimulate the body to go to a very specific place, which is why there's always a side effect associated. But if we nourish the body, give it what it needs, I believe that the body will do what it was created to do in the first place. So we're going to nourish the body specific to the problems that we're addressing. Like I talked about with at ease, we're nourishing the brain. We take a step back and we support all of the systems involved in that problem because, of course, the body's whole and connected. And that's why we add those other herbs to at ease, because it's not just about neurotransmitter balance. That's just one thing, but we need to support the physical body too. And then ultimately, that solution needs to create homeostasis or balance. If we can do that, then the problems go away completely. And it can take a little bit of work to get there in this world that we live in, where there's constant stress. But that's everything we're aiming towards and absolutely can be done. And it can be done well with an expertly crafted formula. I find that it is rarely actually accomplished if you just say, hey, I'm going to take this herb that I like, or this mineral that I heard about, or this one vitamin. Those things might help for a little while, but they're not ultimately going to create balance.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. It really is holistic, looking at the body as a whole, the body, mind, and spirit, and being in alignment, being in balance is so critical.
Yes, absolutely.
Dan, you are a wealth of information on herbs. I just love you. This has been amazing. I can't thank you enough for sharing everything that you have about all of your knowledge and all of your products, which is so important when in this day and age you don't know where to turn and you're not quite sure who to trust. You coming on today means so much. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, I'll just tell your listeners if they would like to use a code to get 15% off, they can use your name. So Jennifer Pilates, just use that at checkout and that will get them 15% off any order that they might like.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for extending that. I appreciate that. And will you also share with our listeners where can they best get in contact with you and shop your products?
Absolutely. You can visit us at redremedies.com, and red is RED, remedies.com. And of course, you can find us on all of the social channels. So please, by all means, connect with us there. If you want to connect with me personally, LinkedIn is, I think, a pretty good place to do that. Otherwise, through our website, we've got a toll-free number you can call. And our customer care team, we're actual human beings here. So we answer the phone and answer any questions you have. So give us a ring if you have questions. And I would love more than anything to come alongside your listeners and help with their health journey.
I love that. And I know that they'll so appreciate that as well. And as always, all of Dan's contact information and all of Red Remedies information and all the links will be over in the show notes on jenniferpilates.com. As we close out the show today, Dan, will you share a piece of inspiration, a piece of advice that you feel we all really need to hear today?
Absolutely. I think I maybe already covered a part of it, but it's just to reinforce that fact that no matter where you're at today, you can absolutely get better. So do not give up. Hang on tight. Be a little bit patient if you need to be. I find that each one of us can heal. We can absolutely get better. And it's important that you do because we need each one of us and our unique giftings for this world to be the wonderful place that it can be.
Absolutely, Dan. Thank you. What a beautiful message. And again, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for so much for all you're doing with sharing your knowledge and all of your products with the world to help make each and every one of us healthier around the world.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's been good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you too. As always, head over to jenniferpilates.com, check out the show notes. You'll see all of the links for everything Red Remedies and for Dan so that you can reach out, ask questions, receive your 15% off his products. And as we say, until next time, may you live an empowered life from within. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Empowered Within with Jennifer Pilates. Your feedback is important. It helps me to connect with you and gives me insight into who you are and what you're enjoying about the show. For today's show notes and discount codes from today's sponsors, head over to jenniferpilates.com. Until next time, may you live an empowered life from within. Hey, podcast lovers, are you ready for an exclusive behind-the-scenes experience? Introducing our on-demand podcast interview videos for Empowered Within, your VIP pass to never-before-seen footage, hilarious bloopers, and all the wisdom from our top experts. Imagine having access to all the juicy details and extra content that didn't make it to the final cut. Whether you're on the go or chilling at home, these videos will keep you entertained and inspired. Don't miss out. Head to jenniferpilates.com now and unlock your on-demand access to exclusive podcast interviews. Your backstage pass awaits. Grab it today.